So we're in the month of April, so it's time to start going up in elevation. I'm going to be spending a few nights by myself, and we're going to hit some different areas. There we go. Getting into the dark timber, almost to the camp. Alright, so it looks like we made it. Kind of a tight fit just before dark. So we'll get the camp set up and get the fire prepped and get recorders out and see what happens for tonight. And just like that, we're set up. This is the camp. That's where I'm gonna have my fire, my chair, got my power station out, my tent's up. Got some pretty big dug firs in here and cedars. So I'm tucked back in the middle of nowhere. Get a look over here. The road does continue on that direction, and there is a marsh down that way. Gonna get the fire set up and get tuned in for the evening. I'm gonna go explore that road though, down a little bit before I lose light. So kind of excited to check out this river. I could hear it from my camp. Oh wow. Oh man, look at that. Oh, there's some big claw marks. There's no question there's bear in here. I always watch alder for claw marks, and yeah, so there's plenty of bear sign around. I saw some rooting around and some scat, even some cougar scat, so I like the signals I'm seeing. Animals like it in here. I also got scarred up trees from old elk rubs and deer rubs. This area is flush with game, so I am excited. Good prospects. We've been in this area before, but never this far down to the water. We've been up higher, so this is exciting. Because we really tuned in at high elevation last year because the time of year when we kind of happened upon this spot. So now it's nice to get in the bottom and explore. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing so far. Got a stunning view off a cliff here. The whole river valley out in front of me. Cliffs, big old box canyon. And the other side of that, over there, is no water camp, where we had our video called Sasquatch Haven, where something visited us and made a ruckus during the night. But I am just loving the views here. It is gorgeous. So, but I am losing light and the wind's picking up in here, so I am gonna bushwhack my way back out to my camp. I gotta be thinking about getting a fire started and some food. So I'm on my way back out, and I definitely heard something down slope of me, down that way. I don't know what it was, but it could have been a deer, but it certainly wasn't no rabbit. And it wasn't no squirrel or something. Something substantial. And I'm seeing a lot of motion in this litter here, where something's been bedding down and hanging out. So, gotta always watch these edges, by the way. That's where kitties hold up. So I always keep my eye glued up there when I'm walking. But I need to get back and get things set And then I'm gonna start playing music. I'm gonna do this throughout the night. I'm gonna be playing Native American style music, so pan flute and deep type tribal sounding drums. And we'll see if that draws something in. All right, got the fire going. Just need to keep her fed. Frogs are going now. Hopefully that's not all I hear all night. Feels good to have a fire. Just played the music for the second time. So we're just going to go ahead and let things settle down for a while. Let's see if anything comes in. It'd be nice if one of these things would come in already. Spent a lot of time, a lot of long, empty nights with not much happening, and then every once in a while, something does happen. But it's a long wait many times between things happening and all that silence, all the empty recordings. But once, you've had an experience like I've had, or like Kirk or Chris has had, and Rebecca, you can't forget that. You can't, there's no going back from it. They don't always play ball or play your game, so you can't expect it to happen. I know people who tell me that they have stuff happen all the time, and it's like, well, a lot of people have Bigfoot on the brain. Like, they have an internal bias toward believing that that owl was a Sasquatch, when in reality is it was just an owl. You can't let your internal bias get you chasing too many rabbits down too many different rabbit holes, because eventually you end up wasting a lot of time chasing something that's not there. We're doing our best. We're taking the data we got and putting it into work, and hopefully someday that gets us some good answers. A lot of flying squirrels, but not much else. With that, I'm gonna crawl in bed. All right, it's morning. I didn't hear much last night other than the frogs. Frogs are going crazy. So I'm going to do a little morning hike here before the sun rises. Hopefully see a pretty sunrise. Out to the ledge and see some openings and look for some tracks. Maybe we'll get lucky. A lot of stuff's moving around in here, so there's a good chance that we could find something of interest. So I'm going to throw my pack together and we'll get out there. All right, I'm following this old game trail. I'm coming up on like a little clip where the creek dumps out. Got some really big Doug firs around. The canopy is just thick as all get out. Pretty crazy. And then down below me here, I've got this drop off. There's a waterfall. Big waterfall running all the way down. This is just this is where the animals will be when it's hot. As you look straight across over there, there's this big open hill, old growth stand. Man, this is a great place to spend time. And you can see the ridge up there on the other side of the valley. That's toward No Water Camp. Got a deer out there in the middle. I thought I saw another one to the right. You can see how tough it is to see them with the camera here versus how easy it is to see them with the thermal in daylight. So it's quite the tool. Well, I've made it back up to the road. I'm just therming around up on the hillside, just looking for anything alive. Seeing a lot of squirrels, birds. Saw one deer, some other rodents, but nothing interesting just yet. So I'm gonna keep cruising this road and checking up slope, and hopefully something hangs out or is hanging out. So made it back to camp. Did a big loop. Saw a lot of evidence of cats and bear and deer and elk. So there is plenty of food back in here, especially being near this pond. There's a pond right back there. This is the snack bar. They're probably gonna go quiet when I get right up on them. A nice pond right here. Smells like skunk cabbage over here. It's probably coming up. Edge of a big pond here. Gosh, it stinks. Yep, there they go, quiet. They've detected danger. Let's see, let's get up here. All right. Oh, yep, I just saw a frog. Dove to the bottom there. Should be a bunch of them sitting around. But yeah, this is where all the croakin's coming from. And then behind me was the alder patch, big long alder patch, deer bedding area. So this is a protein buffet in here. So resources, man. It's all about resources. And there's salmonberry everywhere too. This is what it looks like now that there's a little bit more daylight. Big firs, cedars everywhere. Let's see here, just great setup. Just love it. From what I know, it was quiet last night. I did hear some owls finally when I went to bed. Now that I've got my little hike out of the way for the morning, I am going to head into town and get a little bit more wood and supplies. Somebody left a bottle on the ground there back in the day. Kind of takes away from the beauty a little bit, but let's just check this out. Just beautiful, beautiful morning. And it's supposed to continue for the rest of the week, kind of down in this direction, so it's just going to be great. And as you guys can see, the marsh over there, there's two hills that rise up on the right, but got a good patch of cedar and Doug fir back there. And you can't tell, if I can get out of this light, but that goes straight up and then down, and then this goes up into a spine, and it runs all the way out and it just drops off again. That's where I was the other night, right as I was setting up camp and I was losing light. But really beautiful morning, really still. Heard some woodpeckers. Birds are going off. But yeah, I'm gonna head into town and get supplies and then come back for an afternoon hike. I'm gonna look at the map and see if I can note anything worth checking out. There is this one knob I want to check later tonight. I think it could yield some prints possibly. So with that, I'm gonna get out of here for now. Alright, so I'm back from town. So I'm going into this marsh. You can hear the frogs. I'm going into another marsh not far from my camp, but further down into the drainage below. It's where all the water's flowing down. It's like in the high 70s out in the sun, but down in here it's like 68. It's actually really nice. Scat. Scent mark. There's cats in here. And then also, when I came in here last fall with Chris and Rebecca, there was a ton of bear sign. So I'm just coming down here now to see what it's like now, see if it's still flush with animals. Lucky for me, I haven't heard a bird alarm call really. There's one bird far away chittering, but so far nothing seems to have alerted me to everything else yet, so the frogs are still going. But the moment that things get turned up, those frogs are probably going to go silent. It's full of newts and frogs. So check this out. You see these trees? They have moss all on them in this low-lying spot. And the ground is not all worked over. But if you see this tree right here, the bark is all distorted. And a lot of the moss is completely missing. And if you look, you can see nail marks. So this is where a bear comes up and routinely rubs on this tree, and it dishes up the ground like this. You can actually see where he stands up on his hind legs and rubs up and down and bites the top of this tree right here. Yep, you can see that right there. So this is a bear rub marker. You don't see a lot of these, but in areas where bears have bedrooms and get harassed by flies and mosquitoes, you will see them. And you can see where he's come up and down here and gone off that way to get down to the water here. Standing right here to drink and muck up and stuff. Pretty cool. So earlier today, when I went down to town, I got all the stuff I needed. And I also managed to, on my way back up, find a good river. And I jumped in. For anyone wondering if early April, rivers and streams are warm and comfortable, the answer is no. No, they are not. It sucked. But I am clean, and it does feel good. Good little rush in the afternoon. Does feel good, so. I sat for about an hour. I didn't hear anything, just some squirrels and some birds. So I'm gonna head back to the vehicle and keep on moving. I think I'm gonna drive back to camp, settle in. I might go explore that ridge one more time now that it's not dark and I can look around. Might do that with the few hours of daylight left I have. All right, back on the edge of that ridge just to show you guys how steep it is. That's straight down for a long ways. You can see the valley on the other side. I'm just going up this to see if I can get to a good view. All right, so a tree peeled off right here, and it's sticking up right there. And you can see that just goes right off. But yeah, there's the mountain line on the other side. Still some snow up at the tippy top of that peak up there. And some of the, don't let that deceive you, some of the logging roads still have snow blanketing them up. That's why we can't get all the way up. But really cool view up here. I'm just gonna keep climbing this spine for a little bit and just look around. So all this salal brush produces berries. There is a berry it produces, and many animals can eat it. As you can see, this ridge drops down on that side, and it drops down on that side. So I'm just riding the spine, and this is where you find a lot of good antlers in this kind of spot. So you best believe I'm looking. But I'm looking up here because of my recent trip to the nest site, the Olympic Project nest site. And what they were finding was these ridges were like up against a big tree like this on a point, on a spine of a ridge like this before a big drop off like that. They were finding these big, look like giant bird nests essentially, that were totally by hand constructed by something. I examined a good number of fresh breaks myself, and I could not find teeth marks, claw marks, pry marks, nothing. It just looked like hands had picked stuff and built these platforms, these nests. And it was interesting. So it'll be even more interesting if we can find some more in the future and do some eDNA sampling. That would be really cool. But so far, a lot of animals do this. They'll bed up on ridges like this at security points, like right here. Right here. at the edge of the cliff. That's a deer bed. As a matter of fact, mature bucks do this the most. They'll come up and get up on a high point like this where it's real tough for anything else to approach. They like these kind of spots. So I'm just keeping my eyes out as I carefully crawl along this canyon, because this is a place where if you fall, you only fall once. So it is beautiful up here. It's just glowing, warm. Just perfect. Perfect weather for this. I am gonna have to check my leg for ticks here and there. It's been dry enough, I am concerned. A few might be out. Not many, but a few. So here's another bed. Here's a bed on a point. This one's really well used. I wish I could get a better angle on it for you guys to see. I'm gonna get over here. So this is used all the time. It is so compacted. This thing, whatever it is, uses it all the time. I want to tell you it's deer, but this is kind of like a spot that a cat would really like, because there's a trail right below it. See if we can get down here and see some hair. Usually you can find hair in the beds when they're used a lot by deer. Less so when there's cats. But, oh, here we go. On my thumb. Tiny little whitish, short hair. This is actually like cougar hair. This could be a cougar's bed. Because deer hair, typically you find gobs of it and it all looks the same. Long, stiff end. This has a different look to it. So I think I'm in a cat's bed. Well, I'm not gonna stick around. I'm hanging out in a cougar's bed. Kind of gonna get out of this kind of spot. I don't like it. So back up higher. Take the high ground. Another view of the mountains right there. On the other side. You can hear rough grouse going. But one thing I really like seeing is when I see these dirt piles, that's a mountain beaver hole. I like seeing mountain beavers. That's a good sign to me. Everywhere that I've had really good, well, not everywhere, but most of the places I've had really good, what we perceive to be Sasquatch activity, there's mountain beavers. And we find dead ones. We find teeth and bones laying around. So it is exciting. Don't know what's doing it, but it's enough to... The highest density of mountain beavers I've ever seen is always been in areas that Sasquatch activity seems to occur. So I'm almost back to camp here. Just soaking it in, man. This weather is just unheard of for this time of year. And I'm just really soaking it in after a long, wet winter. It was 75 degrees today up here. Not down in here. Down in here it was like 70. A little cooler. But there's my camp. Well, I'm going to start rounding up some firewood and get ready for the night. Gonna cook up those beef franks tonight. and just soak in the fire. I'm gonna do the same thing I did last night. I'm gonna play the Native American style drums and flute music. And by the way, the idea was suggested to me from a podcast. It was Bigfoot and Beyond with Cliff and Bobo. They had a guest on who's just a wonderful, wonderful guy, wildlife biologist who worked out of, I believe, Wyoming in the Wind River Range, and his name is John Mayanzinski. So be sure to check out that episode. Um, he said he's got a number of reports that suggest that music has potential influence to draw them in. There's a lot of stories around that, and they personally had some interesting things happen when they started playing music in their camp that was like that. So that's where the idea came from. So I'm going to keep doing it tonight. It's also just a way to be different, super different. Just really bizarre because it's not played in the woods that often, and it's not like a part of the normal human portrayal of sound from a campsite. So that's where the idea came from, and we're going to keep trying it tonight. I rounded up a little bit extra wood. I've got my pit prepped. As you can see underneath here, got a little bird's nest under the bottom. It's all wove together, really fine stuff. And I rounded up some cedar and some very dead vine maple. That stuff burns really good. And then I've got different stages of additional fire starting material. Some cedar, more vine maple, Doug fir, and then really dead Doug fir tips, which are loaded with resin. So, and then moves up to finger size, and then I've got piling, and then I've got like finger size or double finger size and up, and then I've got actual wood. So I am set. So I'm gonna get my fire going here in probably 40 minutes. Start cooking dinner. All right. Time to light her up. As soon as we get a good coal bed reestablished, I'll start cooking up those hot dogs or beef sausage. It's supposed to only get down to about 47 at the low tonight, so it's going to be a pretty cozy night. So I'm pretty excited to be up and listen. Frogs are going to be going nuts all night because of that crap. A couple dirt bikers cruised in and cruised out in an ATV. That's it. So like 7 total vehicles today, maybe, if that. And all of them left. So I'm the only one camping in here. So we'll see what happens. All right, well, we've played it the second time, the flutes and the drums, and fingers crossed something happens. I've heard some snaps off in the brush to the east of me, so we'll see. All right, so it's been pretty quiet. Not much is really going on. So I'm getting to thinking that I'm going to slip into bed. But first I'm going to yell, hey, like twice, really loud up the ridge and see what happens. All right, it's morning.
and I'm awake. Not much really happened last night. At least not that I heard, but I slept pretty hard. Been sleeping pretty hard the past couple nights. So, I think today I'm going to pack up camp and we're going to go find a new area. Gonna try another spot.